Hey folks, it's Paul here from ImpulsiveCulinarian.com, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to make some delicious homemade succulent salmon burgers. So why salmon burgers? In the warm months, the barbecue is working overtime and you're making burgers, hot dogs, sausages, all kinds of meat products, pork and beef. Nothing wrong with that, trust me. There's a lot of that going on at our place, but every once in a while it is awesome to switch it up and introduce a salmon burger, homemade, fresh. Okay, so what do you need to make your very own fresh salmon burgers at home? So per pound of fresh salmon, you're gonna want 1 slice of bread or the equivalent of 1/3 of a cup of breadcrumbs. You're also gonna wanna add 1 organic egg, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and a teaspoon of kosher sea salt. Okay, let's get started. So there's no coincidence, I'm making this video shortly after there was a special at my local grocery store for salmon. Take out some paper towel and lay it down double sheet on your counter. This first one is around just over 2 pounds. There we go. There's a lovely piece of fish right there. I'm going to make sure to rinse this under some cold water. And there's no mistaking, fresh fish doesn't smell. Take another big piece of paper towel and pat it dry. So my fishmonger did an amazing job. Not one bone in that piece of fish. And if there was, that's what I'd use to take it out. A small pair of needle nose pliers. They do make these tweezers that you can get. That's fine too. But these, I got them as soon as I got them. They were dedicated to the kitchen. They're only used for this kind of job. Wine break. Okay, so I've got 2 pieces of fish. This one is approximately, well, I won't tell you approximately, it is 1.4 kilos. So almost 3 pounds of salmon here, plus the 2 that I've got here, it's good 5 pounds. This is gonna make a whole bunch of burgers. And of course, I'm gonna freeze them. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skin this piece of fish. Attack a piece of fish that you're gonna be able to do in one shot. All right, so what I would do is I would cut this piece right around here, okay? And then I would do another piece right around there. And then I'd finish off the tail in one shot, because by the time I get to this part, it's going to be no problem. Oh, the second piece is a monster. There'll be a lot of burgers in our freezer tonight. One thing I do not like in my burger is this brown flesh right here. So what I like to do is I take my knife and I make a further cut right there, starting on the edge, and I cut all the way through. And I do the same thing on the other side, and I get rid of this piece entirely. So what I'm left with are 2 beautiful, succulent pieces of fish without any of that brown flesh in the middle. If you find that wasteful, leave it in. It's perfectly fine to eat, just a personal choice. So now we're in the business of taking these lovely pieces of clean fish and chopping them into a fine dice. What I like to do is I slice them in half. All right, they're a little bit thick. So I like to slice them in half and then cut them. Rinse and repeat. For the tail pieces of the fish that aren't so thick, I usually avoid slicing them in half before cubing them up because they're already thin enough as it is, and by the time they get into the burger, no one's going to notice. As you start accumulating fish, put it in a bowl. A very important step that I forgot to mention is have lots of wine on hand. The last piece. Finally, everyone who's ever tried them loves them. Right, Sammy? Is that true? Do you love salmon burgers?
Yeah.
So as I mentioned in the ingredient list, per pound of fish, 1 piece of toast. I'm using 5 pieces of toast, but I just cut them thick so that I can use 4. I'm putting them in my 4-hole toaster. Once your toast is cooled off sufficiently, then plug her in and let her rip. Okay, so now that you've done all the hard work of chopping up your fish, making your breadcrumbs, the rest of it is simple. So get yourself a big mixing bowl. So here's what this concoction looks like. There's a lot of fresh, beautiful ingredients in here. I'm a very hands-on guy, but for the salmon burgers, I go with the spoon. So let's get this going. I'm going to take a square of saran wrap. Fill up my 1/2 cup with the salmon mixture. Now this by no means has to be a messy process. First thing I do is I take one corner and I fold it over just like that. And I use that opportunity to flatten out my burger to, I would say, around 4 to 5 inches wide. Rinse and repeat until you run out of fish meat. My youngest daughter, Sam, is going to demonstrate how difficult this is. All right? So, okay, Sambo, you know the drill. Ready?
Yeah.
Fold, and fold, and fold the rest. Done. Sambo sized salmon burger. Right? Sam, smile for the camera. Let's do a close-up. So the end result, what's the yield of all of this hard work? Per pound of fish, you should probably get around 3 burgers for each pound of fish that you put in there. I've got 15 burgers. I've got 14 and a half because I got a little generous on the half-cup scoop. So the final step is you got to cook them up. After all this hard work, you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So if you're cooking from fresh, like I'm going to do tonight, you need to avoid the barbecue. They're going to fall apart, all right? You need to cook them in a skillet if you're cooking from fresh. And the whole point of this is you still want to get a nice brown crust. So you want to cook them at medium-high heat, okay? So that you get that brown crust, but you don't overcook them. Medium-high heat for 4 minutes per side and a little bit of olive oil. If you're cooking from frozen, and again, the whole point of this is you buy them in bulk when it's cheap and you freeze a whole batch of them. Don't take them out of the freezer to thaw them out. Cook them right away from frozen, okay? And the way you do that is either in the skillet or on the barbecue at medium-low heat. So that you're going to get that nice brown crust, but you're going to take a little bit more time to cook them through. 6 minutes per side at medium-low. So just a quick review. If you're cooking from fresh, medium-high heat for 4 minutes per side. If you're cooking from frozen, medium-low heat for 6 minutes per side. So without any further ado, let's cook one up. I'm also going to cook up the little leftover portion that I had. It's a little mini burger. While that's cooking, time to go put these in the freezer. Okay, 4 minutes done on side number 1. Let's check out what it looks like when we flip it. Beautiful. A lovely brown crust. It's exactly what you want. Another 4 minutes on this side. It's going to be fantastic. Can't wait to eat. So folks, thanks for watching this video. I know it's a little bit labor intensive. Cutting the fish can be a very long process if you bought a whole bunch. But I can tell you, it's worth it. Every single person who has ever tried my salmon burgers is in love with them. They're converted. Okay? Swear on my mother's head. This is an absolute delicious recipe, worth your time. Buy it when it's cheap and freeze them and put them away to have as a go-to in the middle of the week when you're not sure what to have for dinner. Thank you very much for watching the video. And if you've enjoyed it, if it was helpful to you, you know what to do. In the meantime, I'm Paul from ImpulsiveCulinarian.com. Cheers.